I'm going to tell you a story. Once there was a rock named Tyranitar, and he was all like, why doesn't anyone want to team up with me? I mean, I'm strong, I can do a decent amount of damage, and I'm pretty bulky too, and I don't really have to do much. I just kind of show up and get results. I mean, I'm kind of like the perfect Pokemon. Why doesn't anyone want to do stuff with me? And then Naclstack, he showed up and he was all like, well, it's kind of because you summon a entire fucking sandstorm whenever you exist in any general vicinity. And Tyranitar was, he said, well, yeah, that's the sand boosts my special defense. It's part of what makes me so bulky. In fact, it works really well with my Tera type now in Gen 9 because I can just become pure rock and, get that special defense boost while also eliminating my 4 times weakness to rock. And Naclstack said, like, yeah, but, it's kind of, it damages anyone who's not a rock, ground, or steel type or has some sort of special ability that makes them immune to the sand damage. And Tyranitar said, dang. But, Naclstack, he was a new and up-and-coming rock type, and he said, I'll team up with you. I could actually really use the special defense boost from your sand. And I have this move called Salt Cure. It damages my enemy every turn. And, Tyranitar was all like, isn't that kind of shitty for VGC? Damage over time is kind of shitty. I mean, no one uses poison. And Naclstack says, yeah, you think so, but it actually does a quarter of an HP. A quarter of the Pokemon's max HP. If it's a water or steel type, it's kind of huge. Tyranitar said, no kidding. Yeah, but with the Eviolite, my defense stat actually goes through the roof. And not only that, I can use this move called Body Press, which its attack is based on my defense, not my attack. And, the move Body Press has been around a while, but now that we got Tera Fighting, I can just go Tera Fighting and get the stab on it. It's actually really useful. And Tyranitar said, dang, son, what else can you do? It's like, well, I really only use that in Trick Room. But I make a good Trick Room counter because I can do a lot of damage that way. And Tyranitar said, nice. And, by not evolving, I miss out on Wide Guard. But, I think that's okay because I can take a lot more hits than Garchomp can on account of my higher defenses. And Tyranitar said, shit, the story's getting kind of repetitive. So that's when Houndstone showed up, and he's like, hey guys, guess what? I got this move called Sand Rush. I think I'll be a good fit on your team. And the other two were like, fuck yeah, bro. What else you got? I got this move called Last Respects, it's a 50 power move, but it gets stronger every time someone fucking dies. And Tyranitar and Naclstack both kind of looked at each other and they said, what are you trying to say, Houndstone? Well, I'm just saying, with the inevitability of death, if I'm the last guy standing, it turns into a 200 base power move. It might not be as good as it is in singles in VGC, but, it's still a 200-power move. I mean, that's pretty big. So Tyranitar and Naclstack looked at each other and they were like, cool, you're in. Also, that's not all I can do. I can also use body press. Because not everything is can be hit by ghost type moves. Sometimes they resist it or they're immune. So that's why I got body press. It really, because I'm not fighting type, it really doesn't really work unless they're weak to fighting. But if they're weak to fighting, it works because I have base 100 defense. And Tyranitar and Naclstack said, like, alright, well, I mean, you'll be a cleanup guy, I guess. If things kind of go south, you can kind of come in and do your thing. And they're like, alright, well, we kind of got all the bases now. I think we could kind of use a ground type. And then Garchomp showed up. And he was all like, yo, listen, I don't have to sell you on what I do. I'm fucking Garchomp. Alright, I'm holding a bright powder right now. Listen, I got this ability called Sand Veil. Now, Sand Veil makes my evasion go up in the sand. And if I got a bright powder on too, well, that's like twice the amount. I mean, it's pretty nifty. In all seriousness, you think this would be like a shitty strategy, but it's actually not that bad. I've won match. Like, I mean, it is kind of shitty to like rely on RNG. But I have won so many matches. While I was testing out the team, it didn't work a single time, and I was about to say, like, Garchomp is dead weight. But getting into some real matches, the Garchomp has some really critical moves with 100% accuracy have missed Garchomp, and I won games that way. So it's actually kind of dope. Anyway, and Garchomp was like, yo, and I also run Stomping Tantrum instead of Earthquake, so I don't fucking kill you guys instead. And, like, for real, I really don't like running moves like Earthquake and Surf, because I really don't like the idea of damaging your own team. Some people can make it work. I'm not that guy. So, the trio said, all right, Garchomp, your reputation precedes you. Also, you're Christian's main in Pokken Tournament. You're in. Now, all we need to kind of round out, the types that are immune to sand damage, we just kind of need a steel type now. And they looked high and low for a steel type. But they couldn't quite find one, because there's not a whole lot of great steel types in Paldea for some reason. And then they discovered him. And he was all like, hey guys, I'm Gholdengo. I'm a steel type. And they were all like, they all huddled together and was like, we really gonna do this? I mean, look at him. I mean, he's literally this thing. I mean, come on. He's got to be the dumbest looking Pokemon I have ever seen. And he is. No, but for real, he is. My least favorite Pokemon used to be Diggersby because it just looks fucking stupid. This beats Diggersby for my least favorite Pokemon. It just looks so fucking stupid. and it had such a great. Its previous evolution was so good. Why did it turn out to be so shitty? and it's and I hate it on multiple levels too because um it's the 1000th Pokemon. So we hit that milestone and it's this shitty thing. And then to top it all off, also it is the last normal Pokemon in currently in the national decks. So every Pokemon after Gholdengo is a legendary, and there are some legendaries that go before him in the Pokédex. So he's like, in Gen 1, the only Pokemon that did that was Dragonite. So it's like he's like the Dragonite of Gen 9, even though that's the pseudo-legendary is Baxcalibur. And then the Pokemon that's last before any legendaries, in Gen 1 that was Snorlax, is Kingambit, who looks way cooler than Gholdengo. But anyway, then Gholdengo used Make It, put on his fucking sunglasses and used Make It Rain and one-shot the entire team. So they all huddled together and they're like, shit, why is he so good? And he's immune to all status moves? And Naclstack was all like, well, I'm immune to all status effects. And my ability, Purifying Salt, also gives me a resistance to ghost types. But that's just fucking broken. So, yes, Gholdengo reluctantly joined the team. I mean, Gholdengo was ecstatic to join the team. It was everyone else who was reluctant to have him. Because the only other good steel type in VGC 2023 is Kingambit. But the problem with putting Kingambit on the team instead of Gholdengo is that Gholdengo is the only special attacker we have right now. So we're kind of stuck with him. We can't. We have no other option. He's for a steel type. He's just. God, why is he so good? Why does he look so dumb? And then as they continued on, they realized something. My god, Naclstack is our only support. So then they met Amoonguss, and he was all like, yo guys, you ever heard of a move called Spore? Yeah, boy. And, most Amoonguss, they usually have this ability called Regenerator. I use Effect Spore in conjunction with a Rocky Helmet. That way, I use the move Rage Powder. And what that does is that it redirects any attack towards me, and I tank it because I'm a total champ. And so then they take damage from my Rocky Helmet, and then there's a 30% chance that they can be paralyzed, put to sleep, or poisoned. Now, if they get poisoned, it's kind of mid, but 30% chance to get paralyzed or put to sleep. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of poggers. And so the team was assembled. And they vowed to become the very best, like no one ever was, and that's the end of. There it goes. I told it in the form of a story that I literally made up as I went on. I'm doing all this in one take too, because I honestly can't be bothered. Anyway, so yeah, this is the team that I used in VGC 2023. Series 1, because now it is February 1st. Series 1 is now over. We're now into Series 2, which is exactly the same as Series 1, except we can now use Paradox Pokemon. So yeah, this is the team that I've been using. I posted it on Cerebi, but I got literally 0 responses. So I guess Cerebi is officially dead, which is so sad. And you know, I've kind of been noticing this more and more resources. There's been less and less resources for VGC. Um, I feel like back in the day, I feel like you could have just, when I first started VGC in 2016, um, you know, I feel like I could have just typed something into Google and get all the information I could ever want, uh, just like that. Now you kind of have to go looking for it. You know, they don't even post rule sets on like the official Pokemon website anymore, or VGC announcements. You have to go like digging through like their Twitter and like the fucking news section on the Nintendo Switch, or rely on third-party sites like Cerebi for that information. It just kind of feels like, you know, it feels like it kind of, what am I trying to say here? It feels like it's a lot harder to get information, especially, you know, we lost Nugget Bridge, and it's just not, there's just less resources, I feel like, for VGC. And it's a lot harder to get information now. And I've been saying the same thing for like 5 minutes. Anyway, so yep, that's the team. Basically, a non-story rundown of this is that Tyranitar, he does big damage. He takes big damage. I put an eject pack on him in case he gets intimidated. He comes right back, and can, you know, reset his Sandstorm whenever he wants. He's really good on his own. He's even better with bros. Here's a bro right now. It's Naclstack. Um, I put Curse on him. Curse isn't really that useful, but I mean it's a move slot, and when I can get it off, you know, it allows him to do a lot of damage with body press. He's really good as a trick room counter. You know, like I said before, he misses out on wide guard by not evolving, but I feel like the extra bulk from the Eviolite really is like worth it, um, especially in the sand, because he has base 65 special defense. With the Eviolite in the sand, that gets really high up there. Houndstone's one job is to clean up after everything's done. Last Respects, a lot of people said isn't very good in VGC. I disagree, because when it's the last man standing, it's still a 200 base 200 power move, and that's nothing to sneeze at. And admittedly, I use him the least, because I just kind of, when I use him, he's basically, for most of the match, dead weight, because he always has to come out last. So he's not really good. So he's not really useful during the match. He's kind of useful when the match is almost over. But when I do use him, he's pulled through a lot, and he's snagged a lot of wins. So even though technically I would say he's the least useful member of the team, I am hesitant to replace him, because when he is useful, he's the reason why we turn it around. Garchomp, I said my piece about the Bright Powder and Sandville combo. You'd think it'd be shit, and early on it was. But then it started coming through for me. You know, I miss, other Garchomps. The evasion worked and could dodge, like, Dragon Claws, which have 100% accuracy. Took Stomping Tantrum because I really don't like using Earthquake, especially when half the team is weak to Earthquake. I just don't think it's worth damaging your own guys. The only time I ever used a move that, damages your teammate was, I believe it was 2018 when I used Circuitry, but I justified that because when you KO your own team member, you get the Beast boost. So that was kind of like, justified. In Gholdengo, I will say it again, I hate Gholdengo. It is literally this thing. It looks so fucking dumb. But there really isn't a better steel type in the meta. The only thing, there's like only two good steel types, and it's Gholdengo and Kingambit, which both cover the same types. Basically, it's a matter of, do you want to be a physical attacker or a special attacker? And the rest of the team are physical attackers, so that really only leaves Gholdengo. And Amoonguss is tried and true. He's got Spore. I've actually never used an Amoonguss, so I was really excited to do this. Instead of Regenerator, because I don't switch out a lot. It's just not something I do. So I went for Effect Spore to kind of like bait physical attackers. And honestly, it doesn't work a whole lot of time, but when it does, it's pretty nice to have. And yeah, there it is. That's the team. It's a nice team. Here I made the rental team. If you want to use it, it would be cool if you used it. If you don't want to use it, here's another team. 3 more teams over here that you can use. I would be really happy if you would use one of those. By the way, can we talk about these rental teams and how if your Pokemon doesn't have 2 types, it still has like a little bubble for where the second type would be? It drives my OCD up the wall just seeing it blank. What am I gonna for Series 2? What changes am I planning on? Well, Gholdengo. Great Tusk is looking kind of cute. Because it gets Headlong Rush. And I mean Headlong, which is base 120 power. It's basically a ground type. Ground type close combat. Oh yeah, by the way, another thing about Garchomp, with the evasion from Sandville and Bright Powder, you can kind of use it as like a excuse to just pop out a Swords Dance. So a lot of people are saying Great Tusk isn't great, and the reason why is because it has low special defense and its speed is mid. But the low special defense, I believe, can be fixed with an Assault Vest. And about the thing about its speed, I don't really agree, because Gholdengo is literally slower than it. And not like Trick Room slower, like literally 3 points, and everyone that says Gholdengo is like the best thing ever. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. Slap an Assault Vest on it, you fix its main problem. Bing, bang, boom. And I really want to get rid of Gholdengo. But like I said, the only really other option is Kingambit for a Steel type. And I mean, I guess there's Orthworm, but I mean, that's more like a meme than anything else. But yeah, I mean, I guess I could do Flutter Mane and do Terra Steel, but that's such a waste of a Tera type to just go. I mean, well, it does remove both of the Fairy type weaknesses that it would have, Poison and Steel. But I mean, other than it would actually work as a not so bad Gholdengo counter, actually. But I feel like with Fluttermane, you really want to go Tera Ghost or Tera Fairy to, like, you know, boost your stab even more. But I don't know, that's worth considering. Then you'd be immune to the sand. Maybe. And Houndstone, I feel like Houndstone could get a replacement. We really actually don't have any speed control, I'm realizing. So, Houndstone maybe could be swapped out with like a Tailwinder or something. Also, another thing about Great Tusk not having great speed, Tyranitar usually doesn't have a whole lot of problem outspeeding some things, and even though it has base 61 speed. So I don't think base 87 speed is a problem. I really don't. But yeah, I think you could replace Houndstone with something that has speed control, since we really have no speed control. I mean, there's Amoonguss, but he's not really speed control. He just makes you stop altogether. So, I mean, the only really speed control we have is that Houndstone has Sand Rush, but that's really not enough. Yeah, I mean, it's something to think about, but I really don't think I have the heart to remove him, because when he works, he works. But I think I could replace Garchomp with Great Tusk. Even though Garchomp has really been putting in a lot of work, I think Great Tusk could potentially be even better. And it won't have to rely on... well, Garchomp doesn't really rely on it, but it won't have to roll the dice on those evasion checks. And Fluttermane's worth considering over Gholdengo, just because I hate Gholdengo, even though it's really good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I said it too early in the video, but over here we have 3 other teams that you should totally check out. It would make me really happy if you did, because I put a lot of thought into all 4 of these teams, this one included, and if you get some use out of it, that would make me really happy and would make me feel like my time has really been worth it. All 2 of you watching this. But yeah, so I'll see you later. And good luck out there.